Welcome to this reading. Today's reading, I am pulling through the energy of the number 222. Now, messages have been coming through regarding this number in previous readings. 222 in the Bible is when God created Eve, or when God created woman. So I'm picking up on this divine feminine energy, and I had the intention of sitting down to do another reading today. And as I sat down, the time on the clock was 222, and I thought, no, this is the reading that I'm meant to do. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. A bit about me first. I'm an intuitive tarot reader. I pick up on energy prior to a reading, in signs, synchronicities, messages that my guides give me through repeating patterns and imagery that I'm receiving. I will then come and use my tarot and oracle decks to further clarify that message. All of the decks that I use on my channel are my own designs because I'm also an illustrator. If you're called to any of those, the links to them can be found in the description box. So as I said, I was picking up on this number 222. I was thinking, as I was preparing for this reading, I was thinking about a previous reading that I'd done and a symbolism that I didn't mention in the reading. And it was, I'm currently watching Squid Game, the third season of Squid Game. And there's information coming through in regards to the characters that play. And I don't know whether it's intentional or not by the producers, but the characters that play the part, not the characters that play the parts, the numbers that the players are represented by. That number 222, when God created woman, when God created Eve. Now, the character in Squid Game, if you haven't seen the current season, but the character that plays with the number 222 is a young woman who gives birth. It's a woman who gives birth. Mitochondrial Eve was the start of creation. The other thing that I picked up in that initial episode, and I've not really done any research into this because it was almost like one of those things right now, you need to do this reading now. Was organ harvest. Obviously that series is about, there's an underlying story in there about organ harvesting. So as the players play through the games, and you know, some are killed instantly and others are still alive, and their organs are harvested, which is something that's running through in the current play of what's happening in the 3D. Not on our TVs, but, well, actually on our TVs, but in the 3D of what's happening currently in the Middle East. There is this running story of people, Palestinian people. I mean, I'm gonna get into it. Palestinian people whose bodies have not been returned, or people whose bodies have been returned, but they're missing organs. Organ harvest. Now, organ harvest in Gematria is 1162 and 888 in Strong's Concordance. 1162 is pillar in front of the Temple of Boaz, and 888 is wicked. Harvest is Shavuot. And Squid Game, these are just things that I wrote down. Squid Game is 416, which means El Bethel, the god of Bethel, or 576, as for me. But yeah, I just found it very, very interesting. 222 is the symbol of a woman. Now 456, which is the main character, Alexander, Kanye, Senators, Golden Egg, Book of Esther, and 388. Give me a second. I knew it was Ezekiel. It talks about the battle between Gog and Magog. So the big and the little. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, so the battle, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but is brought forth out of the nations. They shall dwell safely, all of them. This reading is about some sort of battle that you've been in, where mind games, manipulation. In Squid Game, 9, Haziel, divine mercy and forgiveness. So it's a whole heap of people that are players in this game, but they They've done wrong in their life, and as a result of it, divine mercy and forgiveness. As a result of it, good health helps with anger and rage. They end up being manipulated through something that somebody's used something that you've done wrong as a tool to inject you into something you can't get out of. It reminds me of like a drug mule, where they're almost blackmailed into doing something because they have no other choice. Interesting. Divine mercy and forgiveness. What number is that? Number 9. This year is the 999 portal. That's the Hierophant. That's God. God sees everything. Or somebody's been playing God. Rest, work, life balance. Somebody's been playing God in your life. You are protected. Wish fulfillment and mastery. That's player 456. He won the first game and then he came back. Well, he lost. Divine mercy and forgiveness. I want to get one of these. The energy around you. Oh, we've got a lot. We've got the Strength card, the 10 of Wands, which is the end, defending, and the King of Wands. Mastery. The King of Wands is mastery. The end, strength. What's happening in the 3D? Too many cards. The Knight of Wands, charging forward, and what's happening in the soul? Divine timing. Whatever this is in your life, it's coming to a head right at this particular point in time. Even that organ harvest. Somebody's taken something from you that doesn't belong to them. Message from the man upstairs. What was that? Wanted to go out? Have taken it. Take it and run. Nine of Pentacles. Saturn and Capricorn and the outcome. The message from the man up. Oh, that's a hold on. Hold on, we're going home. The Lovers. The Four of Pentacles on the bottom. That's the Sun in Capricorn. This is a choice. Don't be hasty. Because the naan bread. The Knight of Pentacles charges in. Don't be hasty. You've got choices. You are protected. Rest, work, life balance, wish fulfillment. If you're watching Squid Game, you'll see how that main character, he's not actively doing stuff. And divine timing here is to hold tight. Wish fulfillment, you are protected. Let's have a look at this angel. Number 9. 9 is freedom. This particular angel grants pardons to people who keep their promises, even if you've done something wrong. This angel obtains God's mercy. So this is an angel who says, you know what? There was some manipulation in something that you promised that you would do. And it's almost like this angel, it goes to God and says, hey, listen, it's almost, this angel is the mediator between something that you've done, almost that you need to take accountability for, but there's a recognition here of how you got yourself into this mess. Soul guardian for those born 2:40 a.m. to 3 a.m. Moral guardian for those born the 28th of March, the 8th of June, the 9th of August, the 19th of August, the 30th of October, and the 10th of January. Physical guardian for those born the 29th of April to the 3rd of May. So those dates might be significant for you. So let's have a look What do I want to get? I'm going to get from my favorite things deck. Let's have a look at what's happening around you, the energy around you. This is maybe somebody, the Strength card, that's somebody trying to overpower you and you trying to defend yourself. The Ten of Wands here is the end of a cycle. That might be this person is this King of Wands energy, somebody who has wielded their stick in power over you, this being you. But as I said before, it can be you getting yourself into a predicament where you're like, oh, God, I've done the wrong thing, but now I'm in a bit of a pickle and I can't get myself out of it. What do I do? You know, and even rest, work, life balance. Maybe you went into a situation at work where, you know, you offered to do, and anybody who is an empath and sees, I'm a bit like this, I'm like, oh, there's a need here and I'll do this and I'll do that. And I want to do things to help. And then all of a sudden everyone's like, well, she's doing all the work and she's enjoying doing it and she's not complaining about it. So we'll take a step back. And so then you end up doing everybody else's work. It could be something simple like that. And you've done it unintentionally and you've made a promise to do something, but now you don't know how to backtrack. Yeah, you're twisted. You've got yourself tied in a knot. This is, in this instance, this is good intention. There's a little bit of, okay, you've done the wrong thing, but the intention was good. Even in that series, you know, you've got a whole heap of people with gambling addictions and stuff like that. For some of them, their intention was to take a chance to now I don't condone gambling, but to take a chance to get a better life for their family. And so they gambled and then lost and then ended up in this vicious cycle where they're gambling more to try and get back. And, you know, and then all of a sudden they find themselves in this game of life or death. The Knight of Swords. Something that you've done in order to get a wish fulfillment. It's come out upside down. That container, that's runes, but it's come out upside down. That is a container that, well, not a container, it's a little jar, a little dish that my mum bought me actually in Jerusalem. And in it is the loaves and the fish. I'll pull it out so you can see. It's the loaves and the fish. So it's that story in the Bible about taking something and getting more from it, taking a gamble, taking a chance. But in actual fact, it's what you lose. Now, obviously that didn't happen in that instance, but for this scenario, it's a gamble that you took. And now it's in reverse and you're paying the price. You're paying the price for a gamble that you took. And we've got the shell there. It's like a spiral, something spiraled out of control for a decision that you made. Somewhere where you headed down in haste. The Knight of Wands is fast moving. It's quick in, quick out. Oh, I'll just put this bet on. Oh yeah, that contract looks great. Oh yeah, and you know what? At the moment, it's very, very relevant because Jupiter has just gone into Cancer. Now, Jupiter is luck. Jupiter is 777. And I want you to think about what was happening back in 2013 because that was the last time Jupiter went into Cancer. Now, Cancer is the Chariot. It's movement forward. It's fast movement forward. Here, fast movement forward. If I look at what happened in my life in 2013, in the 3 years prior to that, I had made a decision to upscale my business. I had a business that had been going along, thriving, doing really well. Slow and steady wins the race. And then 18 months prior to that, something was presented to me that looked great. We took the opportunity. We did all the background work in terms of all the research. Everything looked good on paper. But by 2013, I was literally away every weekend. I had no rest work-life balance. And even though we had crossed every T and dotted every I, unbeknownst to us, somebody had come in and literally stolen, and I've talked about this before, stolen literally the backbone of our whole business and replicated it on another site, and then took us to the trademark council and challenged the trademarks that we had, even though they had literally copied and pasted it. And we won, just like the guy in Squid Game, he won. But he actually got a spiritual lesson from it. Interesting. Look here, the Eight of Wands in the soul. This is divine timing. The red rose and the horseshoe, luck. 777, that's luck. Have a look at what was happening in your life in 2013. Now, what I was going to say there was, in 2013, we had invested a whole heap of our own money into building our business. And after that trademark case, even though we'd won, I was just like, that's it, I'm walking away. I'd learnt my spiritual lesson. But now, in the last couple of months, Jupiter has just come back in. Jupiter, 777, horseshoe is luck. Jupiter has just come back in to Cancer. And we have been presented with some opportunities to dip our toe in the water again. And I said to my husband the other day, you know what? Mastery. I've been here before. I know what this looks like. This big shiny object and, you know, all looks great on the surface. But I've mastered the spiritual lesson in this. Number 9 is the Hierophant. I've mastered it. And we have everything we need. We don't need to go searching for something more. A bit like the players in Squid Game who always choose to play again. They haven't mastered the spiritual lesson. The spiritual lesson, the Knight of Pentacles, that's Saturn and Capricorn. Capricorn is Saturn. This is what God, the message from God is saying. Have you mastered the spiritual lesson? Because otherwise you're going to go back into the same game and repeat the same vicious cycle. Organ harvest is when something that you have of yourself is sacrificed. You lose an eye, you lose a finger, you lose a leg, and then eventually you lose your life. Or your life savings. Interesting. I always take that as a bee, but it's not actually, it's a wasp. Something in and around you has got a sting. And it's going to come back and sting you again. Even too, they're not at the moment because it's winter now and they've kind of all moved away. But in the last couple of months, I've had all these little hornets and wasps trying to build a home in the eaves of where I'm doing my readings. It's my house. This is not your house. You can't build your home in my home. Harvest, Shavuot. The end of weeks, the beginning of the fruit harvest, giving of the Torah to Moses on Mount Sinai. Now that's the law. That's the law that they're meant to abide by. Patsir is harvest in Hebrew. It's a 9-day festival. It's a 9-day festival. Shavuot, the 1st of June, 2025 to the 3rd of June. And Sukkot is the 6th of October to the 13th of October. And Yom Kippur, just before the Day of Atonement, October the 1st to the 2nd. Interesting. Okay, let's have a look at this lesson. Have you learned a lesson from, yeah, look at that. Have you learned a lesson from 2013? What was happening to you in 2013? What did you bite the cherry of that looked lovely and shiny? Well, it would have been earlier than that. Because as I said to you, by 2011, things were starting to ramp up and, you know, we're on this move and things were looking great. And then all of a sudden, you know, things looked great. And then we went down the other side. So 777, which is Jupiter in Cancer, because Cancer is number 7 and 777 is Jupiter. So the wheel turns forward, but the wheel can turn backwards. And sometimes you're not in control of the wheel. That's the pineal gland. That's a pine cone. This is listening to what your third eye, what you can see with your spiritual eye, now that you have the wisdom and knowledge of the last 2013, the last time Jupiter was in Cancer, 12 years ago. Let's get one more for here. Elk. A to Z. The beginning to the end. Do you have the key? Do you have the key, the knowledge? This elk, the key. Let me just... Yeah, elk. This is my runes, which is what that came out of. Let me find it. It's that one, which to me looks like a Y. You're asking the why. Alternative names, Algiz, S or Z, which is the end. Alhaz, Elgur, elk or protection. You are protected. Tree is the U, bird is the swan, animal is the elk, astrology is Virgo, color is gold, element is earth and air. Very interesting. So there's something that happened in 2013 that holds the key, to protecting yourself with something that is going to be presented to you this year. And it's a test. Because that game, Squid Game, is a test. It's a test of their character. That's an Australian Army badge. It's a test. It's a game. It's a war game. It's a game. Happiness. Are you going to go to war? Are you going to find happiness? And, you know, as I said to you, and we've got, that's a sea urchin shell. A sea urchin, they're the ones with the spikes, right? The spiritual meaning of a sea urchin means that you need to work on your discernment. You need to reflect back on part of your spiritual test. This particular spiritual test is that you need to look back on what's happened in the past in order to make a decision about what's happening in the future, about something that's being presented to you in the future. Because here, well, actually, I didn't even... This is the outcome. The outcome is, we've got the Lovers here. Now, the Lovers card used to be called the Choice card. So you've got a choice between going back into battle and happiness. If I take it from what happened to me in 2013 when Jupiter was in Cancer, whilst we won the battle legally, I made the decision to walk away, and we literally just closed the business down. What had happened in that 6-month period whilst we were in a legal battle was, I just recognized what was important and what was not. And now when things are presented to us again, I'm not willing to go back there because I learned it. I lived it. I breathed it. And that in itself is lucky. I'm grateful for that lesson. But it's about using your discernment. Sometimes when things are offered to you, they're not worth the paper they're written on. How interesting is that? The golden egg, 456, player 456. The Book of Esther, 388. The golden egg. When you think about the golden egg, what is the golden egg? What's being presented to you as the golden egg? Okay, let's get advice for you. Anxiety. I recognize that I am fortifying my commitment to dwell in the radiant energy of love. Okay, I would say to you in that respect, any decision that you make about anything moving forward needs to be when you are in a time in your heart, your mind, where you're not being pressured and you're not fearful. because that's when you make the wrong decision. Pride, we've got it in reverse. I cherish my essence, and in the reflections of others, I behold my own spirit. Now, it was a very, very difficult decision for me to walk away from that business because I had put so much time and effort into it. I had to let go of my pride. My pride in what I had already achieved. Because in being prideful and staying in that area where I was following my ego, it actually gave me no work-life balance. So there's something here about balance that you're in. And I just heard you're teetering on the edge of having the wheel turn backwards. And if you can hear that wind outside, there's a bomb cyclone that's happening. I'm in Brisbane. It's way, way down. It's Sydney, which is about 2,000 kilometers away, but we are getting the wind from it. The wind like that can turn the wheel. If we're thinking of Jupiter, can turn the wheel. Luck, turn the wheel forwards. But a wind like that can turn it backwards. Okay, let's get some Scrabble tiles for you. And also too, this rune is symbolizing the swan. You've got a white swan and you've also got a black swan. Now in Aboriginal spiritual meaning for the black swan is somebody who has its feathers all plucked out. It's basically bullied. It gets the raw end of the deal. Let's have a look. Letters and numbers in here. I'm going to give it a shake. It does make a little bit of noise. Please turn your volume down. If you have hearing sensitivity, I'm going to shake it in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we've got a H and a 4, an N, and I just heard honor, an N and a 1. Are you honoring an agreement that you made, or are you honoring yourself? A U and a 1. A Z and a 10, a Q and a 10. Are you staying in something because a B and a 3, challenging your integrity, challenging your ego to leave? But what else is being sacrificed? Organ harvest. What else are you sacrificing? Okay, 3 final cards. Let's see what wants to come out. Hello. We've got the Queen of Cups. Use your intuition. There's some deception around you and the world. This is the last bit of the phase of this karmic test. This karmic test that started for you back in 2013. This is the end of this cycle. The world is Saturn. The message from God. The world is Saturn. We've got the 5 of Wands. The battle now is for you to make the decision between whether you are going to re-enter the game, if you think of Squid Game, or take power, take control of what is your happiness. And this involves your ego. And there's deception in it. That's what I've got for you. Thank you so much for joining me. If this reading resonated with you, please give it a like. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Any of the decks that I use can be found in the description box. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in another reading.